To our offline circulation training. So in the past, it sounded like a lot of you have been using Word documents and scanning barcodes into those, and that works just as well, but it's a little more labor and time intensive. So if the Spark offline circulation module is down, still do that. Still do the Word document scan and keep track of it that way. Because the last time Spark went down, the offline circ module also went down. So that was not much help. But for when it is up, you'll want to have that link that I put in the chat bookmarked on your workstation. So each library should have 1 or 2 workstations for when Spark is down. Don't set this up at every single workstation. You'll just want to keep track of it, preferably at like 1 in each area. So like if you're Martin, you're going to have 1 in children's, 1 in the main desk, 1 in teens. But if you're a smaller library, you'll just have like the 1 workstation where you do all your offline transactions. So that URL is york.sparkpa.org/eg/staff/offline interface. And if you access it right through that link, it will not prompt you to log in. Because Spark is down, it doesn't need you to log in. If you want to access it now while you're logged in, you'll sign in. Go to circulation and go to offline circulation. And when you're logged in to the offline module, that means that you can actually process the transactions that have been created when you were not logged in. Only libadmins can process the transactions. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, about our process as a library team. We're going to have to export our transactions from each library and send them to digital services so that we can then execute the transactions. So all you're doing right now is recording the transactions that happen in your library. So when you go to the offline interface, you will not see this session management thing if you're logged out. If I do anything besides session management, it will say you are about to enter offline mode. If you proceed, you will be logged out. So I'm going to proceed because I'm acting like Spark is down. I need to use the offline module to check items out. So it's important to have your workstation and your working location accurate. So mine is saying that I'm at YC Mar, which is accurate, so that's good. It remembers that from when I was last logged in. So an important thing about your offline circulation workstation is that every once in a while, you should have somebody logging into that. So it should be one that you use regularly so that it can access the register patron screen. The only reason that it's able to pull this is because I have accessed the register patron screen when I'm online. So you're going to want to make sure that it's not a workstation that gets ignored. It's one that you use pretty regularly. Another thing that you're going to want to do regularly, I'm going to actually go back because I have to be logged in for this. So work this into your like daily routine, your weekly routine, I should say, not daily. You should go into offline circulation at your designated offline circulation workstation and download the block list. So that's right up here on the right-hand side, and it's downloading. And what that is everybody who has some kind of alert or block on their account, you're going to have the most recent list of those people, those accounts, so that when you go to try to scan something out to that person, it'll say, nope, that person's blocked. You can't do that. If we hadn't downloaded the most recent list, we might not have the most updated version, and you may end up checking something out to somebody who shouldn't have something checked out to them. So that's why it's important to download it every once in a while. And I think this is taking a long time because I haven't done it on this computer yet. So, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go back. So if you have like a list of things you do on a weekly basis at your library, add that to it. Update the workstation block list. Okay, I'm going to proceed. So this is just how it would be if Spark were down. You'd go into offline circ from the circulation menu, and you'd come here. For the due date, you can either, so the first thing we're going to do is talk about checking stuff out. So the due date is something that you either do manually or you can choose to offset it. So for books, our borrowing period right now is 28 days. So I'm going to say today plus 28 days, and that automatically calculates November 10th. If it was a DVD and I only wanted it out for a week, today plus 7 days. So pretty simple. Or again, if you want to check it out manually, change the date to whatever you want, you can do that. And this is going to be sticky. So when I go to renew, it's automatically recognizing that's the date that I chose before. Okay, so it's sticky between checkout and renew. So I'm just going to go with today plus 28 days. Oh, it looks like it doesn't work if you already have an offset picked. So, or actually, if you have a manual date picked, the offset doesn't necessarily cancel that out. So just be aware of what your due date is. And then scan the patron barcode as normal. And then I have some items here, so I'm just going to check them out. And if you are using a scanner, you'll notice that it automatically enters that transaction in for you, and it appears on the right-hand side. If you do it manually, so if I'm typing in this item barcode manually, you will have to press checkout. So, or you can press the enter button, either one. So again, if you scan it, that just automatically added it to my list of transactions. Now, something to get in the habit of is, also you can print a receipt. So if you want to print a receipt for these items, you can do that. You want to save your transactions, I would say, between each member. So just so you get in the habit of it, when you save transactions, it's going to save every unsaved transaction that you have between all of these tabs: checkout, renew, in-house use, check-in, register patron. So when you click save, it's saving everything you haven't saved yet. But I would just get in the habit of saving often. Once you save it, those transactions disappear. So just make sure you're finished with whatever member you're helping right now, or whatever, like if you're checking in stuff, I would just, if you are about to run off and do another task, just save it, just so that you don't forget. And so that's really it for checking items out. Once you save it, you can't go back and edit the transactions, which is unfortunate. Everything is going to be saved. Like if you made a mistake, just let us know, let Autumn and I know, so that when we execute them later, we can try to fix it. When Spark is back up, that's when you can go in and make any changes that you need to make. So then that's it for checking out. Does anybody have questions on checkout? It's pretty straightforward, I think, but if you have questions, let me know.
It looks like Ellen was about to ask a question.
Yes, Ellen.
Thank you, Autumn. I was going to ask a question about check-in, but then you said just questions about checkout. However, what if we don't have the patron's barcode? What if they don't have their library card because they're a regular or they forgot their wallet?
That's a great question. You do have to have their barcode. So if they don't have it, then hopefully Spark comes back up soon. If they don't have it, then
Would it
there's
be
really nothing
worthwhile
you could
to get
do.
into the habit of writing down like making an Excel sheet of some sort with their information, like their name?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could. That would be a good backup plan. So you're saying to scan the item and write the person's name down and then send it to digital services for processing later, or
Whichever
work?
option, if it were an option for offline.
for if they don't have a patron barcode. Yeah, we'll think more about that
Okay.
and have like an actual official procedure for that.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking like if it was a very well-known regular person, maybe I might use the library card just to scan, and then, have them later to check out or roll over or something. I just picture it never goes down at a convenient time. And you got that mom with the screen and the 45 books. And I don't really want to tell her, sorry, you're out of luck,
Right. So I think in that case, maybe have another Word document, like whatever you were doing before, and just write down their name and then scan in the barcodes and then do it manually. Okay. For renewing, you do not have to have the patron barcode. You just need the item barcode. Because whoever it's out to, that's who it's going to renew to. You can put in the patron barcode if you want, but you don't have to have it. And it's the same thing, scanning it, selecting a due date rather, scanning it, and then renew. And pressing renew manually if you are entering them by hand, or pressing the enter button if you're entering them by hand. And then I'm going to save my transaction. And it disappears so I know that it's saved. You can also do in-house use. So if you have, if you do track in-house use, you can scan an item and tally how many uses it got. So that's an option. You can also do check-ins. So I'm going to check in those books I did before. And if you need to backdate it, obviously backdate it. And you can do different dates for different items if you need to. And then I will save. And then, yeah, so it's the same thing for that. And then for register patron, it is almost exactly the same as what it looks like normally. So your yellow fields are your mandatory fields. And you'll have your date of birth, all that, all the same normal stuff, except for there is no stat cap. So there is no municipality. So that's the only difference. So we may want to write down, make a note of those new patrons that we create while Spark is down, because we want to go back and add that municipality later, because that is important to our data. But besides that, it's all the same, and you just click save when you're done. So those are the main functions of the offline circulation. When Spark is back up, or when you're done for the day, you want to export your transactions. And we're doing this because you have to be a lib admin account level in order to execute these transactions. So you'll have to send them from this workstation to a different workstation. So that's why you need to export them. And when you export it, it shows up as it's called pending.xax. The file type is XACTS. So it's like pending transactions. So you want to download that and then attach it to an email and send it to, actually, you probably would want to rename it. You'd probably want to rename it to something like your library name and the date, just so that we're aware of which library's transactions we're processing. And we can kind of just keep track that way. And then you'll want to take that renamed file and send it to at yorklibraries.org so that Autumn or I can execute those transactions.
So
Does that make sense?
may I interrupt?
Yeah.
Please. I was caught up in making questions and what Crystal said about people never have the book they want to renew. And so I was making notes and making comments and you got far ahead of me. So I lost all you said about saving and renaming and all of that. And was that just with register a person, or was that getting you the information afterwards?
Yeah, so that's just once your offline session is done, like when Spark is back up, or you're going home for the day and Spark is still down, but you need to export the transactions to save them. That's when you do export transactions, and it downloads it as, I was saying, it's called a pending.xacts. That's what the file is automatically named. But I was saying that if it should download to like your downloads folder. If you go into your downloads folder and rename it with like your library, like transit code and the date, that would be helpful, just so that we can keep track of which transactions are with which library.
And it goes to you in an email, did you say, or it just goes through the Spark magic world?
Please attach it to an email. You'll have to send it to us purposefully. It won't get to us automatically.
And all of that's going to be spelled out in our magnificent handout?
Yes, it will. Yes, I'm going to
Right.
send that after we're through here.
So what if they want to renew and they don't have their...
They don't have the book.
Yeah.
So they would say, so you're saying like they might come up to you and say, I want to renew, or they might call and say, I want to renew my book. I guess, again, you might just have to write that one down
Use the
in
old
your
one.
Word document.
All right.
Yeah.
And then when you were checking things in, does it show up over there on the item barcode and check-in date on the right-hand half? Like,
Yes.
I'm taking a note and I missed that visual. So
Yes.
And then
So I'll do it
just
again.
save in between people for check-ins, or just check in like crazy?
You could check in like crazy. Maybe
Because,
once in a while, click save just to be safe.
all right, because so where's the save button on the check-in? And we used to just like let our check-ins pile up and do it when Spark was back. Is that easier for you guys?
No, I mean, it's kind of like if Spark is down for a long time, then maybe you do want to get that done while it's down. And it's really, it's not difficult for us because going off Felicia's question, which is after we send it to you, how complicated is it for you? So that's a good question. I'm going to show you what it looks like as a lib admin.
I'm going to throw my thoughts in here. Libraries that I have worked at in the past have always said, do not do check-in in offline mode. And that's largely because if I'm up and running and I check a book in and that book is going to Martin to fill a hold, or back to Cult Rider because that's where it lives or whatever, I know that then and there. But if I'm in offline mode and I check in 10 books, 20 books, 100 books, I can't, it's not like I can shelve them or
That's
tell me
right.
where to go, because I'm not going to find that out until I upload, and then
Right.
then I get something that says, oh, well, this book needs to go here and this book needs to go there. It's always just been easier to wait and do it later. I worked on a bookmobile, and offline mode is how we did circulation every day. So that
Yeah,
I would not check in.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Good
like because
feedback, Keith.
we will get when we process the transaction, we'll get an exception to the processed transactions. It'll be on our exception list and it'll say root item, and then we'll have to find the book and recheck it in order to get that transit slip to print. So we'll have to get back in touch with you, and you'll have to go find that book and check it in. And yeah, so that makes sense. So I guess don't check in. But you can. So when I have offline transactions that are waiting for upload on this workstation, this is what it will say. It'll say unprocessed offline transactions are waiting. So I will sign in. And in order for me to process your transaction files that you send me, I go to offline circulation. I create an offline session. My practice session number 3. And I refresh it. And then I will upload. So this is uploading them straight from this workstation, but I can import them from the file as well. So I just clicked import and I found that file, and then everything populated here. Okay, and even I'm sure some of these are duplicate transactions, so we'll see what happens when that occurs. So I've uploaded them and then I'm going to process them. And once it's complete, it will let me know the timestamp of when that transaction set was completed. And if anything didn't work, it will show me right here in this exception list, but it looks like everything went through. So it's pretty simple for on our end. So definitely use this tool.
So Catherine, do you have to hit each one individually? To process each checkout individually, or like you showed us?
Just now?
Yes.
So I could I believe I can import multiple files at once.
Okay.
So,
but when you go to complete the transaction, do you have to click on each one individually, or
nope.
can you highlight them?
I just click process, and every transaction that I've uploaded will start processing.
Okay.
One by one automatically.
And is a session the entire time period offline and then sent? It's not just when you save it, right? It's like the session.
Yeah, you have to create. Yeah, you have to so these are from the past. Looks like Mina or maybe Becky created these. It's like every time you want to process transactions, you name it, you name your session so that you can kind of keep track of what you've done. So if you wanted to do them in different batches, you could call it like Dover session for when Spark was down in April. It just kind of helps you keep track of it. So
Okay.
I believe I can process them any way I want. I could do one big batch, but I think it would be better to do smaller batches. So I would probably do it by library. A session for each library. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And do we need to know, like, when you're done with them? I mean, if we just have an hour's down, then it's not going to be a ton of transactions. But what if we're down for like longer than that? Do we need to be notified when you're done, or just figure, because won't people be saying like, I borrowed these books, but they're not on my account?
Mm.
'Cause
Yeah,
people
that's a
are
good point.
really looking at their accounts right now.
They really are. Yeah, they're really concerned
microscopically.
about that.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just wondering, if we do have a significant downtime, do we need to get marketing involved with, some kind of something somewhere to notify people? We're doing it,
Yeah.
it's in process, it may, it may take a while. I just
Yeah.
think, because I didn't feel like people hardly ever looked at their accounts before, but since they're at home and we're delaying the check-in, I feel like people are really, really scrutinizing their accounts.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think if in the event that we're down for more than a day, we definitely have to start putting out like mass communication saying our system is down. We are keeping track of what you're returning and what you're checking out, and just know that it will be on your account eventually. Yeah, hopefully that's a very, very rare occurrence, but I'm sure, but anything's possible. So yeah. Does anyone else have any questions or comments, concerns? Okay. Anything I should go over again?
Catherine, when I try to download the export transaction thing, it like won't, it says like I can't open it, so I don't know how to send it to you.
Yeah, okay. My computer was saying the same thing. Let me see if I can, I don't know if you can send it without being able to open it, but let me see. Did you try attaching it to an email?
No.
Just to
I
see what,
assumed that I couldn't.
because mine was saying there is no like tool that's able to open this file type, but I didn't know if that was gonna
Yeah, that's
keep me
what this
from,
is saying.
yeah. Can you try and see if you can attach it to an email? Because otherwise I'll have to rethink my process.
Yes. So I just attached it and I sent it to you.
Okay, now
So I
let's
don't know
see.
if you can open it or not, but
Yeah, if I can open it and save it or save it, that's all I need. Okay, yes, it's there. I can save it.
okay,
Okay, that's good.
good. Okay,
So yeah,
excellent.
thank
Which
you.
would you show us, Catherine?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, I'm gonna. Okay, so Jenny's email looked like this. She attached it, and I'm able to, I don't know if you can see my drop down, but I'm able to save it as, and then it's in my downloads. Let me see.
Where did you select something to email? Those dots.
Yeah, so new email. For some reason, I can't open a new email right now, but yeah, you'd go new email and then click on the paperclip attachment to attach the file.
So I'm just curious, if Spark goes down, but the internet doesn't go down, we can go from the regular Spark account that is up on our check-in and checkout station and drop down under circulation and click on that offline circulation. But if internet is down, it won't matter whether we go directly offline or through Spark, because we won't be able to do either. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So we shouldn't abandon whatever current system we're using now.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if we use whatever system we have now, because the internet's down, then when the internet comes back up, we just go into regular Spark and just copy and paste and put it in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
So,
Mhm.
All right. So this is just for when we have internet, but not Spark.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you don't have access to this menu that says circulation, that's when you would go right to that bookmark that I was saying that you should bookmark this this URL, and then you just go straight to that. And if Spark is if Spark is down, that should still work. If it doesn't, then go to your backup plan.
Okay.
Yeah, and if people don't know, you can use your scanner just to scan barcodes, patron barcodes and item barcodes right into Word. So that makes it a little bit easier. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop recording.